Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.87, pre-configured actions, charge code filter for bills and accounts, and more, presented by Stayntouch implementation consultant, Victor Azul. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.87 project release. In this webinar, we will cover the following enhancements. One, multi-property configuration now includes work type templates, task management templates, maintenance reasons templates, how to create users, and how to create reservation across hotels in the chain. Additionally, we now support actions configuration, which allows for the addition and selection of pre-configured actions from the safeguard. Additionally, reservations and accounts both allow for parent-child transactions to be grouped in all bills. And finally, we've introduced the charge code filter across house and group accounts and reservation bills. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation and we'll answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. I'm going to switch it over to Victor.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
And then Erin, just confirming you could see the dashboard with Stayntouch?
Correct.
Awesome. All right. Hi, everyone. We are covering the release notes from version 5.87 today. We're going to start off talking about actions. So with our new action configuration, you can now create, edit, and delete actions that can be added to a list of pre-configured actions. So I'm on our demo property here. I'm going to navigate to the settings section and go into settings and settings again here. Sorry about that. Let me load back in here. All right, so let's go into the menu again. Settings again here. And then I'm going to go into my reservations tab here, and then I'm going to go, there's a new tile here called actions. So this is where, again, you can create those pre-configured action items. So I already created two as just an example here, but I'll go ahead and click on the add new button here. When I click on the add button here, the mandatory fields again are the ones with the red asterisk here. So I can create a new action that's going to be pre-configured here. Again, required for the action text here, so I can do something like pet in room, deep clean. Next to this, you'll have your action due date. This is again a mandatory field here. I'll be able to select either the arrival date, departure date, or today. I will select the departure date. Department is an optional field here, and again, these are configured based on per property here. So these are all the departments that we have configured for our demo properties. So I'll go ahead and select housekeeping here. Again, not mandatory. There's no red asterisk next to it. Action due time as well is optional field here. I'll be able to select a due time here, and they are shown in 15-minute increments here. Again, not mandatory that I do select one, so I'm just going to go ahead and save changes now. With these pre-configured actions now, I can now attach them to a stay card. So you can now add pre-configured actions to a reservation from the stay card, and you'll see a list of the pre-configured actions when adding the action from the stay card. Pre-configured actions text are listed with the department if configured. If no pre-configured actions are active, the action manager will remain as it was before. So I'm just going to navigate now back to my dashboard here. And I'll just use an example of one of these reservations here. I'm just going to select this one. So now in the action section here, again, I could go ahead and click on the action, and I'll have my pre-configured actions listed here. So now I can choose one of these pre-configured actions here or post a new action similar to how it was set up prior to this. If I do select the action item here, I'll be able to make some changes. Again, if I wanted to change the department, the due date as well here, the time here. So if the time has not been pre-populated or you did not select the time under the configuration, it will default to the nearest 15-minute mark here. So as you can see, it defaulted to this 11:15-minute mark here. Again, I can also change that time if I decided to change that time here. And then I could also add additional notes here if I wanted to add in addition to the pre-configured action item here. Once this is configured, I can go ahead and post action. And then I can just go ahead and click on the X here. And now I do have that action listed here. Other things to note when selecting a pre-configured action, the selected item, again, you'll be directed to post an action on the pop-up, as you can see here. You can edit the department, as I mentioned, you can edit the time, and then you can also edit the due time as well here. So again, I can hit that cancel button. I do have those pre-configured items here. And again, I can make any adjustments to any of these items here. All right, moving over from the actions, we're going to talk about financials now. Reservations and accounts now have a parent-child transaction grouped in all bills here. So I'm just going to go back to test reservation here. All charges with an exclusive tax parent-child relationship will now display together in bill windows. The display of all other charges will remain the same. So if I go into my bill and charges tab here, let's see here. Let's actually pull up another reservation here. I will now see the parent with a white background here, and then any taxes that are attached to that parent rate will be highlighted in a lighter gray background here. So again, this kind of breaks it down that each of the parent will have this white background. And then again, I could scroll down here and see that again, the parent for this resort fee, and then the taxes applicable for that are below here with the gray or a light gray background here. There is now also, in addition to that, with the charge codes, there's a charge code filter now for house and group accounts. So I'm going to navigate back to my dashboard here. I'm going to go into my front desk and I'm going to go into accounts here. You can now filter house and group accounts by charge code. Moreover, the filtered charge codes together with their link charge will display in the bill. If the include all link charges checkbox is selected. When the include all link charges checkbox is deselected, the return result will only return the charge code selected in the charge code filter. When a bill has multiple charge dates, the filter will search for all dates within the bill selected where the search is performed. So I'm going to go ahead and select account here, went over to the transactions tab here. So again, I can go ahead now and search for the charge code with this new drop-down feature here and say I'm going to look for the room charges here. I'll go and select 1,000. Again, I can select multiple charge codes here. When I do select 1,000, again, it will only display the room charge plus the taxes. If I want to exclude the link charges, which are going to be those taxes, I can deselect this, and then it will only show my room charges here. And then if I reselect it, and again, the taxes will appear here again. So again, this new feature with the drop down here, being able to either search for, if you do know what the actual charge code is here, you can type it in here, or you could go ahead and select the different charge codes below here. This feature is also enabled with an actual reservation as well here. So I'm going to maneuver back to a reservation here. And then go to my bill and charges screen, and I will now see the drop down again, be able to select those different charge codes. And again, I'll have that checkbox to include or not include those link charges, which in this case would be the taxes here. All right, so those are the features in regards to the financials. We're actually going to talk about now about multi-property configuration. So for those properties that are utilizing multi-property configuration or would just like to see what multi-property configuration entails, this would be geared towards you all. So I'm going to switch over to a different tab here, and this is going to be my multi-property here. Just go back to my dashboard. So with our new multi-property, we did release new templates. The first template that is now enabled is called a work type template. So with the multi-property users, if I navigate to the configuration here, And then I go and scroll below here and I go into my rooms here. I now have a new capable template here for task management. This is similar to those that have the individual independent properties of how you would configure your task management task as well here. So if I switch from task management, I switch to work types. I can now add those additional work types that I wish to add to all properties here. Again, we do have the system defined work types here, but if I go ahead and create a new template here, let's say, for example, rollover rooms, go ahead and click on this green check. And then I could go ahead and activate it by toggling this on here. And again, this would filter down to all the room types, I'm sorry, all the properties under this chain here. I do also have the option to search for that. So in any case, if I just wanted to search for the work type, if I did have numerous amount of work types created here, I can also use the search functionality here and search for it here at the top. All right, going along with the work types here, or the task templates here, I also have the capability now to set up task lists. So again, similar for those independent properties or solo properties that where you configure your task list, you are now able to also create this on the chain multi-property level. And again, you could have this filtered down into the properties under this chain here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create template here. Setup is pretty similar to creating task lists for the solo independent properties here. So we can do like a stay over clean status here. Anything where it's parentheses required, again, is a mandatory field here. So we'll go ahead and select the stay over clean. Again, by default, it automatically selected that reservation status. I do have the option to select the room status here, front office status as well here. And then I would go ahead and select my room types. And for our demo property, I only have one room type selected. So I'll go ahead and select that room type here. And then you're able to configure the amount of minutes or hours it takes to complete that task here. Again, not mandatory here. The mandatory field here is the housekeeping status here. So when the task is completed, what would be that room status? In this case, it would be marked as clean. The interval of this task here, weekdays, weekend, which would be every day of the week, or I can select custom as well here, where I can do by day of the week or by stay day, every third day, every second day, every other day, and so on. In this case, we will do every day. So we'll do weekday and weekends here. And then I will be able to select where I want this task to apply to. So these are the three different properties under my demo property chain here. I'll be able to select all of them, or I can just go ahead and select the ones that it will be applicable to here. I'll go ahead and select all of them, and I'll go ahead and create that task template here. I'll get this little pop-up that appears that will say send to properties. If task stay over clean exists in the selected property, entry will be skipped. So that just means if the entry already, if there is already a stay over clean task already created for any of these properties, it would just bypass it and not create a duplicate one or not create another one here. I'll go ahead and activate the template now. Right now it is syncing up. And once that's completed, it will be created in all the other properties here. Now I do have the option here again to select this, and I can add to chain templates. So, but basically that means is if I do decide to add to chain templates, this will be a default template for the chain here, and then I can apply it for future properties I add to my chain. So again, if stay over clean is going to be a standard amongst all properties for your chain here, you can go ahead and add it to the chain template. So you do not have to go through that same process I went through. You can just apply the work type or the task list type that you created and apply it to future properties that you add to your chain here. Similar to the work types, there is that search bar functionality up here as well. By just clicking on that magnifying glass, you can go ahead and search for whatever task you are searching for up here. In this case, we only have the departure clean and the stay over clean here. All right, next thing here with the templates, we also introduced is maintenance reasons as well here. So again, similar to those independent solo properties here, we do have the maintenance reasons here. Again, I already created one by default. Very easy to create as well here by just clicking on the create template button here. And if, again, anything with parentheses required is a mandatory field here. So I can do something like renovation. And in this case, I have the option to apply to all properties here, which will be highlighted in white here, or I can select the properties I wish to apply this to. So again, I can go ahead and select individual properties here, or I can just apply to all properties here. And in this case, I will just go ahead and create that maintenance template and apply to all properties here. I will get this little notification as well again, sent to all properties. That's what will happen next in the properties. First, we'll check each property to make sure that they have the maintenance reason called renovation. We'll create it in the properties that don't have it. Secondly, if the maintenance reason renovation exists, we'll merge and override template fields. So again, this would be the primary one if it already exists on a property under your chain here. Go ahead and click continue here. And again, it is syncing up as well here. And once that syncs up, again, that will display on all the properties under my chain here because I selected all properties here. And again, if I wanted to apply it to the chain, similar to the work type and task, I would just go ahead and select that and add to chain templates. So again, similarly, if I do add new properties to my chain here, I'll be able to apply this renovation one to all those properties that I add to my chain. Again, that search functionality here with that magnifying glass, I'll be able to search for it. Once I do create multiple maintenance reasons, I'll be able to use this functionality to search for an individual one here. All right, going to go back to configuration tab here. The next thing with another template that was created or another new feature within multi-property configuration here is in regards to creating your users. Multi-property users can now create new users from the configuration section here. So if I navigate from the configuration to people here, then I can go ahead and create an account here. Again, similarly to how you would create an account for individual properties here, anything with the required field here will be a mandatory field. So I can go ahead and put that information here. Again, phone number, photo are not mandatory here. Again, I can add email address here. And then below here, I'll have the option, either one, that they'll have access to all properties, or I can select a property that they will have access to. So again, if this individual that I'm creating only needs access to Agua Fresca right here in Island in the Sun, I can select both of those properties, and then I could select the user role as well here. So if I did activate the user roles already, I would be able to select if they're going to be front office staff, hotel admin, hotel supervisor under this drop-down selection here. In addition to that, I can also default what is going to be their home property. So once I save this, if I scroll to the top under this section here, I'll have the option to select which I want them to be their home property as well here. So again, which are the only two properties that activated will only show up within this drop down right here. And again, I'm not going to save this one, but once I'm complete with this, I can go ahead and save my changes here. Couple items to note when creating new users using the multi-property configuration here. The home hotel can be identified in the PMS. Like I said, that's this section right here. The home hotel is a default hotel if the user role does not have multi-property dashboard permissions. So basically that means if I do not have multi-property dashboard permissions, I would default to Agua Fresca, for example. If you do have multi-property permissions, then obviously you would default to your chain dashboard here and be able to select an individual property here. The new user is created once you save it in the PMS, and then the new user will automatically be active as well in the PMS. The new user then can log into the PMS once it has been created and active, that their user will automatically be activated and they can log into Stayntouch here. All right, the last feature with the multi-property configuration here is being able to create reservations across multiple, or not multiple, but across the properties under your chain here. So if I switch over from on my chain dashboard here from properties over to availability here, I will have my properties listed below here. I can expand it. For example, Agua Fresca, I can see my occupancy and availability here. And then I can expand my available rooms here. Again, I only created one room type here, but in essence, I would have all my room types listed here, be able to see the availability of each. And again, I only have one here. And then I would be able to select and then it would take me to the reservation screen of making a reservation for that room type that I selected here. So again, it would be able to default, or it would populate under Agua Fresca and then default to your standard way of making a reservation here. Again, this would work if I maneuver back to my chain dashboard here. Similarly, if I check that availability, and I don't have anything currently built out, but under Beach Vibes Hotel, if I check the available rooms here, again, I would be able to book a reservation against that. And then same thing with Island in the Sun, open up my available rooms and be able to book a reservation for that property as well here. All right, that wraps up all the release features with version 5.87 here. I am going to turn it back to Aaron for the Q&A session here.
All right, thanks so much, Victor. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, so before we go into the recap, okay, I don't see any questions, but I'll give everyone a few moments to enter any questions. All right, I'm still not seeing any questions. So I'd like to take some time to review what we went over. So first off, multi-property configuration now includes work type templates, task management templates, maintenance reason templates, and you can now create users and create reservations across hotels in a chain. Additionally, we covered action configuration and its support. That it now supports the addition and selection of pre-configured actions from the safeguard. Furthermore, we covered reservations and accounts and the ability to allow for parent-child transactions to be grouped in all bills. And finally, we covered the introduction of the charge code filter across house and group accounts, as well as reservation bills. With that, I'd like to conclude the presentation. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at aaron.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.